Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Winemaker Wednesdays. Today we're going to start what I hope to be a dialogue around sustainability. There is so much to cover under this topic. I know maybe a bit controversial. I hope you ask questions. I hope you challenge our thinking around this. But what I really want to do is explain to you what sustainability for the Lost Sierra Wine Company means, why we've chosen to be sustainable, what it means to us, what are the aspects that are important to us, why that's different than maybe being organic or regenerative or natural, right? All these different things that we can talk about under the broad heading of sustainability. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So there's a lot to cover here, so let's get to it. So the best place to begin this conversation is with a discussion around a tried and true definition of what sustainability means. Social, economic, and environmental. Those are the main three headings that fit under the word sustainable. So the social is obviously the people that are involved in doing the work, both in the vineyard and the winery, as well as all the vendors that supply a wine business, and the downstream distributors and people that work in the retail accounts and on-premise accounts, those sorts of things. So there's a massive people aspect to this that often doesn't get included or is not part of the discussion. The second part is the environmental aspect of it. Obviously, I think that's where most people start the discussion with this, and unfortunately that's where it tends to end. And what I mean by that is that people think about the environmental aspects of growing grapes. Is it organic? Is it sustainable? Are they grown biodynamically? And then the last thing really that nobody ever talks about or rarely ever talks about is the economic or the prosperity of the business. None of these other things matter if the business isn't by definition sustainable. If the business can't sustain itself financially, doesn't have good planning, doesn't have a good budget, doesn't understand what it takes to financially produce its product and then get it out there in the market and sell it, if it doesn't have a basic understanding of those things, it'll run itself into the ground. And then being sustainable or biodynamic, those may be great things, but none of those matter if the business isn't there in the end of the day. So why has the Lost Sierra Wine Company chosen to be sustainable? Being sustainable to the Lost Sierra Wine Company means that we are very clearly factoring in all three elements, the social, economic, and environmental. We don't do one without the other. We take care of the people, we look after the environment, and we look after our business to make sure that we're still there at the end of the day. So I want to talk a bit about the sustainability relative to our wine specifically. Is there any impact in our winemaking because of our choice to be sustainable? And there absolutely is, and I think there's actually a lot of benefit for our wines and for you as consumers of our wines. There's a ton to unpack here. We'll do that in detail in future episodes, but we're going to talk about things like yeasts, additives, filtration, or non-filtered wines. You hear about those a lot. We'll also talk about glass. So glass weight is a huge topic within the wine industry these days, and I know it's beginning to get out there from a consumer standpoint. We'll give you our perspective on bottle weights. We're going to talk about the fact that our bottles don't have foils on them. Why? What's the big deal about that? We'll also talk about natural cork and cork closures in general. We use a special technical cork that I'm super passionate about, and we'll share that with you, talk deep about that. We're going to talk about the fact that our wines typically have fewer sulfites. So I'll know about sulfites in wines. Our wines generally have lower sulfites. We're going to talk about why that is, what the benefit is for you. We're also going to talk about that our wines tend to have lower alcohol. And why is that important? What's the benefit for you? Why are they lower alcohol? How does that tie into the sustainability story? We'll get to those in future episodes. We'll dive into several of them in detail. But I want to hear from you. Let us know what you think is important. Let us know what questions you have about the wine business and being sustainable or natural or this, or orange wines even. Let us know what you want to hear about. I will get to all of those questions or comments. Wow, so that's a lot. We've touched on a lot of different things in a short amount of time here. I hope, though, that we've provided at least an overview of why the Lost Sierra Wine Company has chosen to be sustainable and what that means to us and why we feel that's important. I've teased up a whole bunch of different topics that fall within this realm. Be sure to hit like, subscribe so you get notified when the next one comes out, and we'll see you on the next episode. Cheers.